Two and one, and we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wolf. It's good to see everybody in here. Happy Monday. Good start to the week. Really excited to get back on the podcast with everybody here. Today, we're diving into one of the most critical but often overlooked part of the Bitcoin ecosystem. And here at Wolf, we love Bitcoin. Like 75% of our content's around Bitcoin. We love all of it. But definitely, the hardware that powers it all is something that doesn't get talked about enough. So today I'm joined by the team from Canaan, one of the original pioneers in the Bitcoin mining machines world, and they're also the team behind the legendary Avalon miners, which you guys have seen all over the internet, all over X. So definitely really excited to unpack the role and seeing how the future of proof of work is going to be looking, how the proof of mining is looking for Canaan, as well as the overall Bitcoin mining environment. So I'm joined by Leo Wang as well as Gwyn Lauber. So both of you, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Kate. Thanks. Let me do my brief introduction of myself, and I'll pass to Gwyn. So my name is Leo Wang. I joined this company in 2021. Back then, I was the first employee for North American regions. I'm majorly in charge of capital markets practices and investor relations. So I had a legal background. I worked for big laws for almost 6 years. Before I started to move to corporations for investment and investor relations roles. I've been working for corporates for a little over 10 years. So I've been on the ride of crypto cycles since 2021 in this company. A lot has changed. Now we have almost 20 people in North American regions. We have several different international offices, including our headquarters based in Singapore. So the company has grown so much since I joined.
Wow.
To you, Gwyn.
Yeah, thanks, Leo. So I'm Gwyn Lauber. I joined Leo about a year ago to the day, completely new to Bitcoin and crypto. My background is technology. I've done investor relations for a number of years, but decided to join Leo and the Canaan team because of so much they were doing with Bitcoin mining, and they were evolving at the time, going from being just the picks and shovel company, making the tools that make Bitcoin mining possible, to really starting to do mining themselves. And Leo is just a wealth of knowledge. He says he does capital markets and corporate development and all that, but really he knows everything that goes on with Bitcoin mining in the US. So it was just such an exciting opportunity that I gladly joined Leo's team. So thanks, Leo. Absolutely. And nice to meet you, Kate.
Shout out, Leo. Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. I love that. I love hearing a bit of background on how you guys got into the game. And also maybe all those to Leo or whoever wants to take this one. But for people who don't know, could you guys give it a bit more of a background on what Canaan actually does, how you fit into the Bitcoin mining ecosystem as a whole?
Gwyn, you want to start with that?
Yeah, sure. So up until, before 2011, I guess, people were just using regular computers to mine for Bitcoin. Then they sort of transitioned over to GPUs, maybe some FPGA. And then our founder, NG Zhang, he was a PhD candidate at the time, not studying Bitcoin mining technologies or anything, but he was an enthusiast just on the personal side, I think. So he developed the first Bitcoin mining ASIC. And it's the technology that's still, I guess he developed the first one probably around 2011, 2012, started using it for himself. And then he was so interested in keeping the blockchain decentralized that he realized that he needed to form a company so that he could send his machines all around the world. So that's what he started to do back in 2013. He founded the company, took it public in 2019. We were originally headquartered in China, but in 2024, I think we officially moved our headquarters to Singapore, which is where our management team is. We decided to focus on the US, I guess 2021 when Leo joined us. Let's see, we have about half our employees are engineers, so we're really technology focused. We're definitely heavy on that side. We have about almost 500 worldwide patents. And really the secret sauce, what we do best is make extremely durable, extremely reliable machines. We're selling our 15th generation, coming up with our 16th generation right down the road. We have production around the globe. We have a manufacturing line in China, manufacturing in Malaysia, and then we just did a pilot program in the US this past quarter for the first time, and that went really well for us. So we have a lot going on, moving into the consumer products, because again, it's our CEO's passion that everybody in the planet should have an easy way to do Bitcoin mining for themselves. So he's come up with some really interesting, easy to use, so easy that even I can use them, and quiet and multi-purpose as well. You do Bitcoin mining, but you can also use it to offset the cost of heating a room. So I think we're really doing a great job thinking about things for the long term for everyone.
Amazing.
Anything to add, Leo?
Yeah, I was going to say, did you want to add anything to that, Leo?
Well, absolutely. I think Green just gave a perfect intro of the company. I think the philosophy of the company is always innovation driven. We were the first to develop a FPGA before ASIC was a thing. And then we were also the first to announce and deliver the ASIC mining machines, which form the foundation of today's Bitcoin mining. We also aggressively implemented a lot of new technology into this industry. I would say more than half of the inventions in the industry were done by our teams. And we are getting more and more into that, even though people are saying that, the Moore's law is dying, the chips are not as frequently upgraded like before, but we always stay on the cutting edge of changing environment, especially this time when we see a lot of retail getting into this space. We thought we could come out with a real good retail-based product. So we started that project late 2024. And now we have several different miners that's out in the street and very they went viral on YouTube and Twitter because people loved how they were used, which was just an example of how we try to drive ourselves into more advancing and more exciting projects all the time.
Very cool. Very cool. I love that bit of a breakdown there on the origin. I'm curious as well. Maybe Leo, you can take this one, and then we can see if Gwen wants to add anything as well. So, in terms of like you speak to a lot of people from the investor side of things, other builders in the world, and then people who have no real exposure to Bitcoin, no exposure to the Bitcoin mining industry as well. What are some of the misconceptions about mining or mining hardware that you maybe wish other investors or people in the game knew about or understood?
Yeah, I think one of the misunderstandings is that some people thought it was easy to do and it was a commodity. Bitcoin mining hardware is not a commodity. Bitcoin mining hardware has a lot of know-how in it. Even today, when you are contributing almost half of your success to your partners, which are basically just Samsung and TSMC, you can always build different versions of machines on the same processing node. So it is a very interesting concept that different teams have different ideas about machines. And for example, our team always put the balance between usability and efficiency ahead of just like one side, because we thought it'd be easier for miners to work on it if you have a very durable and very temperature tolerant machines. That goes into whether it's summers in Texas or Middle East, where people can run in without worrying about them getting crashed by the temperature or the fluctuation of the power grid, right? So it is always important to put your customers in your mind when you design and deliver a machine, right? Some of our competitors, despite the market size, had a practice that they want to ship their machines as much and as quickly possible to the miners without really maturing them. So some of these machines got really crashed and they had to use their after sale service and repair shops to move them. So the uptime of these deployment would be lower than average, and that will hurt the customers' economics. So always want to make your customers make money, and always keep running them and move ahead with a balanced philosophy. I think that's the key.
Definitely. Quinn, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons we've been able to break into the North American market so quickly. In 4 years, we went from zero market share to 40% in 2024, and I think that says a lot for the quality of the machines that we were able to make, as well as the customer service. It's really important for us to have really good relationships with our customers, local support in the areas where we're selling our machines. And that is a big differentiator. That's part of the core of who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any like upcoming improvements or things that are coming up in terms of machines that you're excited about right now that you guys have coming up for the remainder of 2025? Like, what is like the focus for the next 3, 6, 9 months?
We have a A15, which is our current generation, which we massive sell to the market for almost a year now. We're working on our next generation, which we call A16 series. That's going to be a more efficient power horse, and we expect them to be delivered sometimes next August in terms of the prototypes. So once we had a prototype ready and test them, we will start to sell them to the market. I think always upgrading your machine is very important for this industry, because Bitcoin mining always happen every 4 years, which is a great way to keep Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin itself as a deflation assets, right? So keeping the value. But in the meanwhile, it also challenges the Bitcoin mining operations, because people would need more and more efficient machines to run them. I think that's one of the largest upgrade we will have in the coming future. Also, there are different versions of machines. We have air-cooled, we have immersion-cooled machines, which means you immerse your machine into oil and use the oil to transfer the heat. The third way is called liquid machines. Liquid cooling is or people call it direct chip, which use purified water to take away the heat from the machines itself. So all these servers are customizable to our customer, and we are having a very open mind to work with our customers with software. I think in the past we were more known for air-cooled machines, but we actually had a second generations of immersion already, and we're moving to the third. And going forward, every time we have a new chip, we will have all 3 versions of mining machines coming out. We also have a customer-based oriented machine that could be plugged into 110 volts at home and office. These machines are very usable. You can use your cell phone to scan the barcode and control them with the software, rather than putting them in the desert or in a very rural area for massive deployment, right? So they're more friendly. So we're working on software and trying to make them even better.
Amazing. Gwen, anything you want to add?
Yeah, and just to be clear, I think, Leo, you said next August, and by that you mean next month.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Just to make sure everyone's clear. And it's usually our company's philosophy. We get the prototypes back, we do some sampling, and then when the time is right for us, we'll ramp that up into mass production.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious, you kind of introduce some of those things. Like, what are the bigger advantages that you see that Canaan has that puts you guys over other ASIC producers like Bitmain, WhatsMiner, and a few others that come to mind? Why would someone want to kind of point direction towards Canaan?
I think the big differentiation, number one differentiator, is that we are a public company, right? So everything is compliant. We don't avoid taxes, we don't avoid tariff. We're trying to meet the compliance needs all the time, and we move our machine manufactured in Asia to United States before the tariff hit us. But once the tariff was announced, we were vigorously exploring manufacturing in the United States. Just a month ago, we announced a big transaction of shipping machines from both Malaysia and the US manufacturing facilities to one of our largest customers, Cypher Mining, for their next delivery. I think that is a very important signal for us, because we are using our manufacturing advantages on both sides of the Pacific to help our customers. I think being a public company also means we know better about the mindset and the requirements of our customers, because some of these customers, especially in North America, are publicly traded as well. So we understand what they do. We try to be very, very transparent about ourselves, very outgoing. Our management and board are very interested in protecting the investors' interest. So I guess this differentiate ourselves from our competitors. Our competitors are both private-owned companies based in China. Their corporate governance is very intransparent. So we are totally the opposite. I think that's one of the largest differentiators.
Yeah, and I think if I could add to that, it's being a public company comes with a lot of pluses and some minuses. But part of what we do is it requires that we always follow the U.S. rules. We're listed in the U.S., so we follow all the to the letter of the law, everything. So being a public company can make a lot of things easier, but it also makes you have to prove that you're on the right side of the law, which we're more than happy to do. But as part of that, we also, as our philosophy, we have I think a reputation for under promising and over delivering. We always want to make sure that our products delight our customers. So, we aren't really aggressive in our marketing materials saying, we're going to have 5 jewels in a very short period of time. Instead, we always take the position of, let's see what we can get in the real world. Let's take a moment so that when our customers use our machines, they're always happy. They're pleased that we're able to do what we say we're going to do, if not more. So that's part of our core, and I think that's something that we're all extremely proud of being able to do every day.
I think before we conclude on this topic, one thing I might have forgotten is that since day one, we are a big promoter of decentralization ourselves. I think one of the reasons our company was not doing any self-mining in the first 10 years of our history was because our company decided to sell all the machines to our customers to make sure they are fully distributed to a decentralized network. So that more and more people could enjoy using machines to mine Bitcoin. So that is not just contributing to the hardware industry, but also to the overall value of Bitcoin as a blockchain assets. And today, Bitcoin has become a mainstream asset, and a lot of these crypto assets have been deemed as a non-security. But in the past cycles, there are always ups and downs, and especially when Bitcoin mining wasn't that profitable, you need people to kind of stand up and help people, even though sometimes that means taking more and risking more. But always you need to be a pioneer. And when we're still keeping that philosophy in this company, and everybody is very proud about our history and trying to do the right thing for the community.
I love that. Well, I'm also curious on how you guys think about the Bitcoin mining industry as a whole, and any trends you're starting to see develop, or predictions, things you see upcoming in the markets for the mining industry. Curious because you guys are down there, boots on the ground. You guys are in these meetings and calls. You guys have a different perspective than a lot of the retail out there. So definitely want to hear if you have any thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think that this really is a very vibrant industry. I think when I joined this company, most of the Bitcoin mining activities were in China. China was almost 70 to 80% of the mining network hash rate. And then China banned it. And then a lot of these miners moved outside of China. Now they're getting back. But, United States apparently is the most important market with about 40% of the network hash rate here. I think one of the reasons was that United States has one of the best capital markets in the world, which was really good, a great tool for Bitcoin mining adventures. I think a lot of companies have tried different ways to mine, hosting model, self-build model. mining in the United States, dislocation in different states. Some more focused on one state and than the others. I would say that Canaan has a different way of self mining. We keep our mining machines very competitive, but in the meanwhile, try to expand our mining footprint because we view mining as a great tool to help us hedge our especially in the downturns. So in the past cycles, because we didn't have self mining, we had to write down our machines or sold them at a very cheap price. But now, since we have more and more pipelines on self mining, we would be able to plug in all the machines, even though there is a withdrawal of Bitcoin price itself. So making our company more sustainable and more responsible for our shareholders' interests. Aside from that, I think one of the most important differentiators of our company is that our self mining are most working with different jurisdictions, mining partners. We had about 4 exahash outside United States, especially in Africa, where we mine 100% green energy from hydropower and very efficiently with the local partner. We also have several different projects inside the United States, and we're aiming up to add that to 4.6 exahash in the coming month or two, because the United States has been a strategically important position for us to expand, and we hope we will build a very balanced, diversified portfolio on self mining. We haven't started to build our own mining sites yet. We're not objective to it, but for every project, we take a very strict ROI perspective. So we would consider doing that only when we see that's a better economics than a hosting model with our third parties.
And I think I'd add, when you were talking about where we see interesting trends that we're seeing for the future, something that Leo had touched on. We have mining sites outside the U.S. that are run 100% on green energy, and I think going forward, you'll see, obviously traditional mining, that'll always be big, but we're also starting to see energy companies taking an interest in Bitcoin mining as a way to manage their grid. Bitcoin mining is like a sponge, it can sop up extra capacity. It does a really good job at being able to be, suck up energy when it needs to be, when there's excess, but then also to turn off when the grid is maxed out and it needs to get some of the energy back. We can shut down, and then, when the grid has stabilized, we can turn ourselves back on and be up and running. Which I think is really important for energy companies looking at ways of doing that for themselves. And then also governments using Bitcoin mining to, if our byproduct is heat, and you're in Norway or you're in a cold climate, why not use Bitcoin mining heat, the excess heat, to heat a village or to heat the water in wintertime? So there's so many applications that, we're just scratching the surface of, I'm sure. And then from our perspective as well, we're also having consumer products which allow consumers to offset the cost of heating, their own personal heating. And then, right now we just do Bitcoin mining heaters for personal heating, but I'm sure there's other applications for that as well, where consumers can take more control or offset the cost of their wintertime heating bills. And I think a lot of that is going to have a lot of forward-looking opportunity.
And when it's come down to consumer mining, in the past, people were really overlooking consumer as a group of miners. They only consider them as a very niche market where people use small miners to do like solo mining on, not put to a real mining pool, because they thought the odds for retail to get a decent return on Bitcoin mining is very, very, very small. So they consider them more like a lottery machine. But Canaan has been really serious about this market, and we have pushed out machines that are equally efficient compared to the industrialized machines. And also, we believe that for a lot of consumer companies, not companies, consumer individuals. They're actually using Bitcoin mining as a way to hedge their green energy, whether it's very cheap power, because now power is very fluctuating. You got different power pricing methods from the grid, or maybe they have a rooftop solar panel system. They wanted to use the power when they don't need that much, and they don't want to install a very expensive battery, or even not as much as they have to. So Bitcoin mining is actually could actually act as a hedge for their investment on the green energy. So we really think that this is a uncharted but a very appealing market for us.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. I had not heard that one pitched from that angle. So that's a really interesting one there, Leo. I'm curious, you talked a little bit about what's kind of sets you guys apart from the other miners and what kind of things you guys focus on. I'm curious if you could bundle it up into something that people could take home for, like, okay, walk away from this podcast, like, okay, I have a good idea of what makes a good, Bitcoin mining machine. What does that look like? What are the key features for that? The main things that are super, super important that you guys think matter the most?
For the industrialized ones, or for the home mining?
Maybe both, actually. If you wouldn't, I mean, if you have the answers to both or want to weigh on both, I'd be interested.
Sure. So for the industrialized machines, I think one of the features I just talked about, and Green also talked about, is that our machines are very durable. So one of our customers told us their machine only broke less than 3% in a 12-month period, which is an outstanding number in this industry, because people actually put these machines into very difficult circumstances, like very hot areas. In the winter they got really cold. There are sands, and people are not like taking care of them as they take care of their TV sets at home, right? So it's a very tough environment, but our machine can last much longer than our competitors' machines. So if you look at the industry average, it's almost 20 to 30%. So our 3% is really a marvelous number. Yeah.
And a big multiple.
Yeah, exactly. And that's because we have a very strict quality control, and we have put a lot of emphasis on our manufacturing and designing in these machines to make them a good workhorse. So I think when it comes down to consumer level product, I think one of the big differences is that, if you look at a machine, it looks like a very nice furniture, right? If you look at our competitors' machines, they don't look like a very nice furniture. We have very good software for people to tweak them. One of our miners at home is called a heater miner. We call it Avalon Mini 3. So it looks like a heater, regular heater that you could put at home to heat your home. So that design was actually from a real use case, because a lot of families used to got all these industry machines and put them in the garage and use them to heat houses in the winters. So we thought, why not manufacture something that could be put at a bedroom or a living room, because they look nice. So that also have a screen on it, can show you the price, can show you whatever interesting picture and logo you want to put on that. So we really put a lot of thought into all these machines to make them exciting.
I think you haven't touched on this yet, Leo, but it's also the quietness of our machines. It's great if you have a pretty, if you have a machine that looks like a baseboard heater that you can use, and that's great. But if you can't sleep in the same room with it because it's so loud, you're not going to use it. So the utility of the machine, as a heater, is gone. So our machines are made to be quiet so that you can coexist with it without it getting in the way of your living. So, like Leo said, we've put so much thought into it because we really want you to be able to use it. You want someone like me to be able to take the machine out of the box, plug it into my wall with a normal 110-volt plug, and just start going. Look on your phone, connect it to your network, and boom, you're off and running. It's doing what it's supposed to do easily. I don't need to call someone in to have it set up, or I don't have to worry. And you can look on our website, you can see the difference between our look of the machines versus other machines that are out there.
And even for industrial machines, our machines are much more heat tolerant, so we don't even have to put on a very massive fans to get them out. As a matter of fact, in 2024, we reduced the number of fans on a machine from four fans into 2 fans, without reducing the quality of that machine. On the other hand, our competitor has increased their fans to make them really noisy. And you will see more and more residential units starting to complain that the Bitcoin mining has kind of getting interrupting their way of living or their animals' way of living because the noise was just intolerable. By the way, these mining sites all use our competitors' machines. So we really look forward to a more sustainable Bitcoin mining industry future. And I think to make them quieter and easier to handle is the way to do it.
Very nice, very nice. I'm curious as well, like on for people who are coming into the world of Bitcoin mining and maybe the public miners specifically as well. What kind of things do you guys point to for people to research more, to learn about, to focus in on? Especially, I'm sure like a lot of the Bitcoin miners have their own websites. They've got places and resources for people to go to. But especially with you guys for Canaan, if people are watching and they're like, okay, pretty interesting stuff, have a look at the website. Like, where should people go? Like, are there specific places that kind of come to mind?
First of all, our own website would be a great source for information. We have investor relations websites. We also have product website. If you go to our website, it's more like a hardware website because people use the same design philosophy as Dell has. Making our major website more like a shopping center for hardware, right? But aside from that, you'll see that we've been on the news working with other public companies for a long time. For example, among our customers, they're Cypher Mining, they're Marathon, CleanSpark, or very important miners in the industry. We also host our machines with third parties, in which case they run our machines. And we split the profit with them, which is considered as a very important and cost-effective way for our partners to grow their business. And some of them are also public companies, including Bitfarms and Mawson, right? So Hive has been one of our longest history customer. Hive has a lot of different locations in and outside the United States. They recently had a Paraguay mining site, which is huge. And these people are very pleasant to work with. And so I want to highlight Hive as well.
Amazing. Gwen, was there anything else that came to mind as well for you?
Yeah, so I think if you wanted to, if your listeners are interested, there's a lot of information on YouTube that if they search for various types of miners, look up ours, look at our competitors as well, and listen to the reviews, because I think they're full of a lot of really practical, third-party unbiased information so that you can get sort of a feel for what they do as well as, what you think about each one of them.
Definitely. Well, by the way, for like there's a lot of attention and talk and rhetoric around like when DeepSeek came onto the scene and they came on with this big AI announcement and a lot of people were freaking out. There was a lot of the public miners, especially, that had kind of pivoted into the AI and HPC realm, and people were starting to get nervous, and sort of the conversation started to really, really blow up in that arena. Do you guys have any thoughts on this sector of the Bitcoin miners? Like, how do you guys think about it in relation to the way you guys kind of run your company and the way you guys do business? What kind of comes to mind? 'Cause I'm sure you work with people who are right there in the middle of it,
I think a lot of these public miners have pivoted into AI hosting for the NVIDIA GPUs and AMD GPUs. That has proven that Bitcoin mining is a very solid business because it's built out a very professional team for managing the power contracts and managing the infrastructure for Bitcoin mining. I would call it like Bitcoin mining as a way to deploy hardware into generating revenues from a SaaS cloud. I think ASIC is similar, only that the investment for the GPUs are much more expensive than ASICs. I think they really work hand in hand, because if you look at what Core Scientific has been doing, you look what Galaxy has been doing, Applied Blockchain has been doing, and even Riot has been coming up to. All these companies started with the idea of using energy as a Bitcoin mining, because it was easier. It's a proven business, and it is also welcomed by the local grid, because it consumes a lot of power right away. And the grid and the energy companies will be able to use that demand as a way to do their project financing and expand the grid and kind of make the whole network stronger, right? The power network stronger. So GPUs and AI hosting is another demand, currently still much smaller than ASIC hosting, because it takes a lot of money and effort to build out all these mining sites for GPUs. But for Bitcoin mining, people still using that as a mainstream way to get large megawatts from the grid. So I would say you can consider GPU mining or GPU hosting as a like a second level of Bitcoin mining, but that's not really diverting our energy. It actually contributes to the network, because people would consider, oh, okay, Bitcoin mining is another way of deploying servers, and Bitcoin miners are servers as well, because all these expertise used in these two different businesses are actually very similar. And also in the past, traditional data centers don't require a lot of power, and they require a lot of power, not a lot as what they require today. And also the density of the hardware is not as high as today. So the heating, cooling, and thermal methods of all these traditional data centers are not that similar to Bitcoin mining. But today, because GPUs are coming in very high supercomputer level, so people really need to make sure the data centers are designed in a way to get rid of all the heat generated from the chips. And these chips have to be designed in a way that a lot of these power can be saved, and they're very power price sensitive. So it coming to be very similar, almost like a twin to Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin hardware design. So I would say they are like brothers playing hand in hand.
Very complementary. It's with Bitcoin mining, it's nice that we bring the flexibility to the equation. You can't turn off an HPC AI data center and then flip it back on again. You need something that can sort of be a little more forgiving, more flexible. It's and that's what we bring to the table.
Definitely, I love that answer. Kind of rounding out here, so we come to a close for people who are like, long-term believer in the success of Bitcoin, for example, especially in the Wolf crypto side of things. A lot of people buy and hold Bitcoin. They love it. It's one of the main, potentially their top thing in their portfolio, but definitely something they're interested in. What's your elevator pitch for why people who are in the Bitcoin world should take an extra look at Canaan specifically of all the Bitcoin miners?
Yeah, so if you look at buying Bitcoin as a treasury policy company, you actually are playing it as a proxy for crypto assets as a whole. So if you're really fond of crypto assets, I think the most secure way is to actually buy and hold by yourself. The proxy companies always have a premium. They raise capital, they sell through the ATM, and they use debt to raise capital. But that's all just adding leverage to holding crypto. There's no creativity, there's no innovation in that business model, right? If you look at Bitcoin mining companies, they actually mine at a discount. So the price for their their way to generate Bitcoin is lower than today's Bitcoin prices. So all these public mining companies are actually, at least theoretically, generating more value for their shareholders than directly buying Bitcoins. Of course, there is other methods. You have to get really complicated in terms of uptime, as well as the management expenses. All the things that public companies come to a little bit complexity. For us, we sell our machines to all these companies. We host machines with them. So we actually away further. We actually generate profit from selling these machines. And when we plug in machines to Bitcoin mining, because our cost of capital is cheaper, our cost of machines are cheaper than our customers. So we're having a little bit advantage in using our own machines for Bitcoin mining. So I would argue that our company is leaner and also more cost efficient. We want to be more cost efficient. But all in all, I think it's very different from a treasury company where they have to dilute from time to time to be able to raise capital and buy Bitcoin themselves.
And I'd just like to add to that we also, because we have this nice flexible model where we're selling machines in a bull market when ASPs are high, we can pivot to doing more self-mining in a bear market when the ASPs are lower. So we always have a place now for our inventory to go. But we also, because we're mining, I think a lot of people forget that as of the end of June, we have nearly 1,500 Bitcoin on our balance sheet. So, when we mine, we hold our coins. If you want to get into a treasury stock, this isn't the same thing, but we are exposed to the appreciation of Bitcoin as well.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Yeah. And I was going to say, and we never know where the markets are going to go, what direction they're going to head. And so people are always wondering, they're like, what direction should I look for investing? What assets are worthwhile? For me, for a lot of people who are in this industry, Bitcoin has come out this year and been like, holy moly, like this, you have to pay attention. And if you're going to pay attention to Bitcoin, then the miners are inevitably part of that story. And I'm just grateful that we're part of this journey as it's going, because it's been wild to see. I mean, the entirely new administration comes in. Suddenly we're pro crypto. All of a sudden, everything starts getting passed. Everyone, like you said, you're looking for various opportunities happening in the States. And that wasn't really the experience prior because it was a bit harder to do. So I think definitely a lot of people are going to have eyes to the Bitcoin mining world. So, I've kind of tossed it back to you a couple of times, but if there's any final thoughts you guys have or last things you want to leave with the audience and the investors out there in regards to Canaan or anything you have coming up, definitely want to, let you guys have another chance to leave the audience with that before we wrap. Otherwise, I really have enjoyed this conversation, learn a little bit about the Bitcoin mining world, things I never would have been able to know unless I've been able to ask you guys. So I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you, Kate, for arranging this. Yeah, we are a company that's been, through all these ups and downs, 5 cycles already, and we're still here and trying to bring all the very compliant work to the table, especially for North American investors. And we were very, very transparent. Feel free to reach out to our IR email if you have a question, or reach out to our Twitter and Facebook account. I think I'm really glad to be here.
Thanks, Kate. This has been great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for giving us an opportunity to tell our story to your audience. We really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
100%. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, Leo, and both of you guys. And for anyone who's interested in Canaan and anything we really talked about, I encourage you, if you're on X, right below us, well, right above our faces, you can go and click the follow account on Canaan and shoot them a message or whatever you guys are looking for. That's there on X. As well as right below the stream will be a link to find out more details around Canaan, a really good website that kind of breaks down a lot of their details and stuff. If you want to find out more, highly recommend you guys check that out, whether you're on Wolf Financial, Wolf Crypto, wherever you're watching, it's going to be down there. If you're on YouTube, it's going to be down below in the description, right below our faces. We try and do streams and spaces every single day here at Wolf. So we really appreciate everyone who comes through and engages with the content. Please do repost the stream as well. It is recorded, so people can go back and they can watch the recording later on if you're on X. And so I really appreciate all of you. We'll catch you guys all in the next one. Take care, everybody.